Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Fiona and Jenna and Don. Leonard was there shortly. Hello, Ingrid.
Hi.
And Suryamani, Ravina.
Yeah.
If you sit and let people in, I can start there.
Sounds good.
Can you hear us clearly? Yes, good.
Okay.
Good. Then we start. We talked about what meditation we should do today, and I thought I would do a meditation where we create space for what is. So it's a little bit different than what we normally do. So I would like for you to make yourself comfortable and close your eyes. Make a deep breath and exhale and feel how the body becomes heavy. Make another inhalation and exhale. And feel how the body's falling into gravity. And just sit and breathe calmly. This way, where you have a focus on your inhalation and a deep exhalation. And notice how the body slowly gets more and more calm. And what I would like to focus on today is that calmness. It's that stillness, simplicity, and contentment that we feel when the body is calm. So notice on your inhalation that you're taking in air. It's also how we take in experiences. And when you exhale, feel how the entire nervous system is calming down. And it's a really good exercise to do, even just for 5 minutes a day. Where you just close your eyes and exhale and feel how, because your eyes are closed, everything is closer. You're not distracted by sight. And it's easier to feel into the body. Feel into what is here right now. And just feel how the body is calming. And it is what we're doing with the fetters. When we look into the 10 different ways we identify and we attach thing to that we are making something that is nothing feel very, very important and urgent. And that stresses the nervous system unnecessarily. Exhale. And very often, just by closing our eyes and exhaling deeply a couple of times, we kind of snap out of it. Things are being put into perspective. Okay, so what is really important right now? And exhale. And it's just such an easy tool to really get back into that stillness, simplicity, and contentment, where the mind can calm down, where you can detach all the thoughts of alert and just go calm down, calm down, calm down, and exhale. And just notice your senses when you're here. What are you hearing? Not what you think you're hearing, but what are you actually hearing? Now, I can hear birds in the background, but even that is a label. How do I know that is a bird if I do not attach a thought? It's just a sound. And that grasping that the mind does is part of what is keeping us on our toes and keeping us in that stressed, contracted state. And it's really not helpful. So exhale deeply. Calm down, calm down. If you're not attaching any labels to anything you hear, and it's just sounds that is coming and going, just like a wind that is passing on your cheek. It's there and then it's gone. And you just get back into this stillness, simplicity, and contentment that is here right now. There's nothing that you need to do other than just sit with closed eyes and breathe. And if there's mind chatter, you just allow the mind chatter to be there. You do not need to believe in anything the mind tells you. It's just a thought. Just like you don't need to place any urgency on any bird sounds you hear. It's just a sound. And in this spacious space of stillness, simplicity, and contentment, where there's no attachment and no hooks to anything, can you just stay here? Just for a little while. Just stay here. And if your body is stressed or you're anxious or nervous or concerned, just feel into the body. And whatever contraction is there, can you be in a body where there's a contraction? Just allow it to be there. It's okay. It's okay. You can have a contraction in the body. It's okay. You can have mind chatter. It's okay. You can be concerned and stressed. It's okay. Can you be that spacious space where there's just stillness, simplicity, and contentment, and nothing can be wrong? How can it? It just is. And while you're here, send some kindness to yourself. If there's anything that needs to be created space for, just send some kindness your way. If you keep thinking of someone, their face or their name or a situation pops up in your mind, just send some kindness their way. Right now, you're just in that spacious space where there's nothing but stillness, simplicity, or contentment. And even Janice can have a boatload of compassion and kindness from us, from this space. It's okay. So no matter what is happening in your body right now, it's okay. No matter what is happening in your mind right now, it's okay. And I would love for you to have that mantra for you for the rest of this week. It's okay. And really, when you think of it, when isn't it? And are you sure about that? So make a deep breath. Exhale. Slowly start to move your fingers and your toes and move your body and open your eyes when you're ready. Before we start, I just want to say that we are having a summer holiday from the Q&A. So instead of having Q&A every other Friday, we just meet here for the inquiry group every other Tuesday. We found that there's so many groups and so many things and summer holidays and kids and responsibilities and all that. So instead of piling that on, we wait until the autumn and then we pick up with the Q&A again if there's a need for that. And until then, we meet every other Tuesday for the inquiry. So focus can be spent here. Was there anything you need to say about? Yeah, we have, regarding the retreat, we have finished the last recordings.
Yeah.
There are 24 recordings in total. So it's more or less 6 months worth, 6 months worth of material that we expect you to do in a week.
Yeah. Easy.
So many expectations from our side.
Yes.
No, obviously not. But
for those who have already signed up and paid, in the next couple days, you should be expecting an email with a link to the Zoom link that's going to be used for the retreat, and a link to the playlist. We basically the playlist is going to be, I think, public, but the videos on the playlist are all going to be private. So we have to add everybody's email address who is
individually.
Yeah, individually who is coming to do it. So
so every person needs to be added to 24 videos.
Yeah. And so the key takeaway there is that I just need to make sure that if you have signed up, that I have the email address that you want to be associated with that YouTube account. So if you have emailed me from an account which is like not the one that you use to access YouTube, please send me an email with the one that you do use to access YouTube. And then also, like we talked about last week, I think there's still a couple people who have signed up for the retreat and paid, but I don't have your Discord display name yet if you would like to access the Discord side of the retreat. So I need that. And then for anybody else who has signed up but not yet paid, you still have time. Anytime before the retreat starts is fine. It's just it does take a little bit of time to get you set up on Discord, and also making sure that you get access to all of the videos. And as far as the videos go, we have at least, I was going through today looking at it, and there are at least, I think, 6 videos that we actually recommend you watch before the retreat starts. So giving yourself at least a week or two to kind of get acclimated to the material before we start can actually be useful once we start the retreat itself. Completely optional, but just the way we're putting it together, it seems like it would be the more efficient way for you to engage with it.
And also, if you haven't got the time to do the videos and start the embodiment and all of that, it's completely fine. It's okay. There's no pressure at all, or no expectation from our side. Do whatever works for you. That's our goal for the retreat, that you do you the best way for you, and then we're here to support you in that. So yeah.
So I think that's
it.
I think that's about it.
Yes. Okay. Questions?
Yes. Look at all those hands going.
It's so nice. Everybody here. So nice.
All right. And that was a fun session for
Yeah.
Good seeing you guys.
Good to see you.
See you in 2
weeks. See you in 2 weeks. It's also nice just to sit and take one another in.
Yeah.
There's also new faces. This is nice too.
I can't find the hand for some reason, but I have a question.
Okay,
Go on.
hold on 1 second. We'll get you pinned and get us pinned. All right, and we're gone. Hey.
It's actually not a question. I
Okay.
just something I want to say. So here I am taking up some space.
Good for you. Well done.
Yeah. The meditation was just this perfect piece. And I love how you are always saying, Pernille, it's okay. It's okay. When I started the curriculum, I had come through the gate with Liberation Unleashed. And so I kind of looked at Fetter 1 and I dabbled a bit and I thought, I've done that. I'll just move on to Fetter 2. So I've been circling through 2 and 3 for quite a number of months now, finding a lot of good information. But then I thought, I'm just going to go back, see if there's anything there that could be helpful. And I've got as far as the first video. There's so much in there that just blew me away. And the thing that really got me was when you said, thoughts are selfing.
Yeah.
And so I thought, wait a minute, really? Like, is that true? Let me check that for myself.
Yeah.
And so it was just like yesterday, I started to really pay attention. And I was so astonished to discover, like, on the one hand, I've gone through the gate and I do really see there is no separate self. And yet all these thoughts are coming from that place of a separate self.
Yes.
And so it was really extraordinary to have stepped back and to see that is, for all that I've caught myself thinking in the last couple of days, it's all about selfing. And so it seems extraordinary that I can both recognize there is no separate self and be so impacted by this part of me that's still that's playing from that story.
Yeah.
So it's been really helpful to have that perspective and to just observe. And what I was finding sometimes, so there's a quote from Adyashanti that I really like, and he says, to be willing to sense and feel yourself as a living conscious mystery. And I find reminding myself of that really puts it sort of makes me very curious about everything. And it sort of pulls me, it allows me to slip into that space. And I find that even though I hadn't seen that big picture of all thoughts coming from that place, which seems like a really important thing, but I've found myself in the space of flow so often. And it's such a relief. Like, I'll go out to do different jobs in the garden and I don't have to think about what I need to do. I just go out there and I do this, and I'm able to get more done. I'm more enjoying it. The flow is just, it's more enjoyable, more easy. So I know that space where there really aren't thoughts, what I need to do next. And so I don't know if you have anything to offer how to I don't know,
No,
how to expand that into other.
yeah. First of all, I want to say that I love so much that even though you came from LU and you had that feeling of, there's no separate self, and that you weren't spiritual arrogant, because we experience that a lot, but I've done that, I've done therapy for decades. I have seen through self. I don't need to look at the material for the first or second or third fetter. They have fallen. That's a spiritual arrogance that is keeping us in a selfing position where we believe that we are beyond something. That's a belief. That's selfing, like major, huge selfing. So for you to go like, well, I'm still curious about it, and then finding that you're actually in a position where you can listen without having tears in your ears, but really listen and really take it in and going like, wow, there's nobody that is being ego injured by you hearing something that you haven't heard before, or experiencing something that you haven't experienced before. That spiritual arrogance is only there to protect an ego. So for you not to have that, it just puts you in a beautiful position where no matter what comes up, you go, oh, wow. And then just move with flow through that. If I could say something that I would love for you to work with until I see you next time. It's the seventh fetter. It's the something out of nothing. I would like for you to notice how much during a day, how many times during a day you can catch yourself creating something out of nothing. We went to the basement yesterday and we're looking at different stuff. And we started to talk about, it's funny how much things that we have kind of has that seventh fetter, something out of nothing in it. So you look at a mug and you go, oh, my daughter made me this mug. Oh, I can't toss that because I create something out of nothing. It's a mug, but I'm putting a lot of memories and stories and experiences and emotions into a mug, which is not really there. My point is not to say that you need to throw the mug. It's just noticing how much we're creating something out of nothing. And it's kind of like it's a huge insight.
Yeah, that was funny because I was actually going to suggest before you said it. So
okay, go ahead.
Great
go,
minds.
go.
No, well, like when you were saying how to expand this into your daily life in other ways, that sort of peaceful stepping back that you were talking about with Adyashanti often comes about when we have that moment of insight where we recognize, like, in the moment where you are, I don't know, doing whatever you do, cleaning up or doing bills or, getting ready to go drive someplace. In that moment, notice if you have any preconceived notions about what this moment is supposed to be like. Like, I really hate doing dishes, but I do it every day and I just got to get through it. What is your emotional tone to it in that moment? Do you have any thoughts about, I'm doing this just so I can get it out of the way and onto the next thing, or even that I really love this thing and it's, like I look forward to this every day. Oh, so enjoying it. Notice if there's any sort of emotional tone to it and any sort of thoughts about the experience that you are in, positive or negative, and unhook those and just come back to the actual appearance of what is here. And that alone can kind of go whoop, and kind of boost you back into that open, that
flow,
open
fetter flow,
where it's just here. Because any thought, and we have so many, like, it's like the undercurrent that's there all the time that is coloring our experience of our day, where we don't even think about it, but it's like, you know we talk about the sort of explicit emotions where, I feel really sad right now and I can feel something behind the eyes and something in the throat and something in the belly. And, you might have specific thoughts about it, but we also have this more subtle emotional tone that runs a lot. And that's usually being fed by some sort of thought, sometimes a very subtle thought, about the way that things seem to be in this moment. That's this extra overlay that isn't really happening. It's just a thought about it that's not being recognized as a thought about it. I mean, like we were out in the backyard the other day, and I can't remember whether it was about like mowing the lawn or something, and there was like just a thought about it, and this immediate feeling in the body comes up with the idea of like, yeah, we're gonna have to mow the lawn one of these days. And it's just this subtle thing which ordinarily we would just be like, okay, like I hate mowing the lawn and now I have this feeling about it. Or it's just this kind of like the thought of spring or summer and mowing the lawn brings a certain sensation that is so synonymous with our experience that we don't recognize that we're having it. And if in that moment you recognize, oh, wait a minute, there was an experience here that was brought about by an association with something else. A thought about mowing the lawn came up, a sensation in the body arose, that got taken into a whole other thing about, now this says something about spring and summer and the duties of mowing the lawn and upkeep. All of that doesn't even need to be explicitly thought, but it's felt in a sense. And so recognizing that sense when it's there, and then just recognizing this isn't happening. There's nothing real about this. All that's happening is you're standing in a yard looking at grass, like there's just this moment, and everything else is something that's being put upon it by
Yes, it's just something out of nothing.
exactly. And so when you drop that for a moment, you can get that, oh, like everything is okay. Like this is just the way that things are. And everything else that I have put on that has been some sort of judgment, expectation, other.
And again, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just becoming aware of all of those small bubbles of identification that we have with things that are not there. They're not there. They're created in the back of our minds because of our bullshit backpack and histories and all of that. It's not there. It's Todd, lawn, that's it.
That's it.
The rest was bubbles in bubbles in bubbles in bubbles. That was not there at all. But if we don't become aware of it, it's difficult to move with that 9 fetter flow, because there will be an avoidance in a certain area because of a little identification that we're not even aware of.
Wow, that sounds like a rich area for exploration.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And it's fun,
Yeah.
make sure you take it with that kind of lighthearted curiosity, that it's not like it's not a homework
It's not a
assignment
task.
that you're like, you have to do this or else you fail. It's nothing like that. It's just like you're really curious about the experience and how your experience is being created and colored and shaped by these undercurrents of thought that just go they go unrecognized for so much of our life, and yet they are creating the experience of the world.
Well, I feel like this recognizing all the selfing that goes on in thoughts is something I never really noticed before. Like just, so many thoughts go by that are just too many to even notice, but I certainly have been noticing more and noticing the selfing in it. So now that you've mentioned that, it's something else to notice within those thoughts.
Yeah. Amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing next chapter.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for
for
taking
bringing it up.
space.
Yeah.
Remove pen.
Anna.
Add pen.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. I'll just put my hands down. That's it. I'm keeping good. Now, something like, I'm looking into that Fetter 6 boundaries and all that, like, and there is a lot of like deep stuff coming up. But anyway, last night, I woke up in the middle of the night when mind wasn't like fully identified with that, whatever that is, but like when that feels like self is here. So it was like more like kind of clear, detached from any formations. And and there was just such a clarity, like there is no boundary in between.
Yeah.
It was just like a openness,
Mm.
like just like a wind going through. And there was a clear scene that's always been like this. There's nothing actually is here. And the body is just like a same as a visual field. There's nothing apart from that. And like sounds are just like just sound like space sounding, that's all. But it was interesting, like it was very clear, and there was no fear response, because any time before them glimpses into a Fetter 6, it was like instantly just like this, like you wouldn't even notice what is happening in the mind, as just like that. So now it didn't even, kicked any fear response. But what it was interesting, like it lasted like no, like minute 2, 3, maybe like this. And then like, oh, but then I have nowhere to hide. And there was just that picture, like recoiling like a turtle, in that wee shell.
Yep.
And then same time, like you can see you can't recoil anywhere, because you can't even like physically do that, but
No.
that thought is still here, like you need to get somewhere. And then today I was sitting at lunchtime just looking at the wall in front, and then suddenly just gone. And next moment, like body just went like, and just like no, just pushing away, and really just that like physically just like trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that fear response, and wasn't strong fear response as normally it was before. It's slowing down. It's not as intense anymore. It's slowing down, and just like, but it's actually not that scary. It's just the same as it is. It's just kind of coming in terms with that, with acceptance, with all that is happening. And also, like yesterday and today, there is, I will call them fears, but like very like strong contractions in the tummy area, and like very just like look at me, just look at me, just do something, just because there is no thoughts of forming. It's just that sensation in the body, and it is just like really just trying to squeeze to get any attention. And so I was sitting one moment, and I just like closed my eyes and just like opening space, like opening door. And then I just looked, like sneaking in the house, just want to get in the house, just want to get into the home place. So, and another thing what I have noticed recently, so this kind of something is coming up, like fear of not existence, fear of disappearing, fear of being swallowed, consumed, something like big and just like enormous, something like this. But that's not like clearly, it's very, very subtle something. And that creates a lot of response in the body. And when I, go into sensations and just really, really tune, that's what comes up, them thoughts. So yesterday, okay, first time this happened when it was initial shift. I call them like standstill. It just feels like a stop, like you stop. And I just like, if you see in the films, someone is like kind of passing out, and then they just kind of waking up, like that type of response. That would happen. So that happened the first time whenever that happened. And then second time, the same thing happened when I had that very, very intense shake for hours after second one. And yesterday was another episode like this. And what I noticed before yesterday, that fear response when that coming up, and like when I'm tuning into them thoughts, what actually is there, what are you afraid of? There is that fear of being like paralyzed, not able to move, and then you will be, and that fear you know, like in terror, like frozen face in terror, and body is, you know, like in the freeze response, and you're not able to move, and that monster just swallows you. So yesterday when that happened, that's what actually is happening. When that moment, mine just becomes like, and I don't know what happens. I just like stand still, and there is just like this, and then the
Yeah. Yeah.
and strong shakes after that. So yeah, just things like this. I don't have like a specific questions, but if you can comment something,
Yeah.
maybe.
I would love to talk about it, because what you're experiencing is why we put so much emphasis on the first 3 feathers, because I would like for you to go back and watch the lesson about ego death, because what you're experiencing is that very, very old survival mechanism that we have.
Yes.
And when we start to look into that there's not a separate self, that is like peeling an onion, because like, you know, there are 10 different ways that we can have hooks into an eye and into that identification that we have with the 10 feathers. The more you work with it, and the more you feel that the nervous system is calming down, and there is no difference between what is perceived to be out there and that is actually perceived in here, that is like the first shift. Because if we have trauma as children, that means that there's no protection anywhere.
Yes.
That needs to be dealt with. You need to be the adult in the room and really calming your nervous system, going like, it's okay, I'm here. If you're ever in a situation like that again, as an adult, I got your back. You can see through that 6th feather out there in here. You can see through that. You are safe. And then you heal that. What you're describing is a beautiful description of ego death, of fear of death, fear of ego death. And it's just beautiful, because you're just going into the next layer of seeing through that identification that you need to be diligent and vigilant and, you know, protecting, and life is dangerous, and you're full of fear, and then, you know, you're not doing things right, so now you're full of guilt and shame, and all of that. The ego is there to protect us when we're children, and that is what is falling away when we see through self. So what I hear is that you're just peeling another layer of the onion, and you calming yourself when you're in the situation, when you feel that, when you suddenly see it, that's fear of death. It's the ego that is afraid of dying, and you just need to calm yourself down and tell the ego, thank you so much for being here. For all these decades where you had my back, where you protected me, I got it now. You know, you can calm down. I got it. And then you can kind of like calm down the parts of you that survived with a very strong ego that was protecting you, and telling yourself that, well, I got it now. You know, you don't need to be diligent or vigilant anymore. I'm here. So it's beautiful. Really, really beautiful.
Thank you. Another, like, I think it was just like a couple days ago, woke up and there was some kind of happening. So I dived in, and so behind that fear, there was like a protection mechanism, you know, but it started to express itself, and it was really just like an animal inside. It was hissing and showing teeth and scratching.
Yeah.
And just, you know, like you just see how body is expressing, and it really just like animal.
Yeah.
It was so bizarre.
Yeah. And it's why it's really useful and helpful with all the body exercises that we do, where the body is allowed to move the way it moves and express what needs to be expressed, and that's it. You're not making a big deal out of it. There's not an out of it. It's just the body expressing. And if you have that coming to the surface and you just sit and go like, what was that? We have on camera twice, I think, where you have reactions, and then we go in and explaining what is actually happening, because we did different exercises and things came up, and then we explain what is actually happening, and there's not an eye anywhere that can feel shameful or embarrassed or anything about it, because there's not a thought. It's just the body that is reacting to an input and to a stimuli. The body is reacting, and then it's sorted, and that's it.
Exactly as you're saying. Yeah, it's just like coming out here, just body itself, moving and doing everything. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you.
Love it so much, Anna. And
Thank you.
before we let you go, I just want to say thank you for all your support at Discord.
Yeah.
I love your responses.
Amazing comments.
Yeah, amazing,
Thank
amazing.
you.
You're wonderful. You're so supportive.
It's just anything, you know, like what I feel like kind of resonates with experiences I went through. I'm sharing, and if that helpful, it is. If not, it's not.
Yeah, and I love the way that you share of your own experiences. That is so helpful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for engaging.
Yeah. And then it's Rosie with the new hair.
With new hair.
Yeah. It's Advent.
Same here.
Hello.
I just want to ditto what you just acknowledged Anna for. I've been really enjoying all her coaching in Discord as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like my my share is like an add-on to what Maureen was talking about. I mean, I just went through LU a couple weeks ago, and whatever, kind of was told that I was through the gate, but I was kind of questioning whether I really was through the gate or not. And the guide, just kept, I was answering the questions correctly, I guess. And I definitely saw through self, and I still, when I look, I there's no self. I can't really, it's not findable because it's not there. But I'm still selfing all the time. It's like I still get triggered, and get in moods, and just like before, and especially I just got back from being away. My youngest son got married and was on the East Coast, and I'm on the West Coast, and so it was just wonderful. It was like 10 days of absolute love and family and celebration, and it was just beautiful. But it like completely distracted me from my process. I was like, I was just completely in this worldly way. And the only thing that I think I noticed different, and I don't know exactly how to describe this, but I'm just allowing myself to be normal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like before I saw through that there was no self, it felt like being spiritual with that there was a certain way to be.
Yes.
And I wasn't trying to be it, but I just noticed that it's not there anymore. Like, oh, I can get upset like a normal person, and I can, just whatever. And that I'm just being with it in a way that it's all okay. I didn't realize how much I was bypassing of, oh, this isn't real, so come back to self. And now I'm just like, oh, it's totally okay to be a normal person. And yet at the same time, I'm just wondering, like, there's this kind of a sadness, like, is this it? And it's weird that it's bringing up tears, but it's I know it's not what you expect, but it just feels like nothing. I So anyway, I listened to something you said, Pernille, the other day about, these are all thoughts and that thoughts take us out of our direct experience. And that was really helpful, similar to what you found, Maureen, when you found that all thoughts are selfing. It's just kind of a different way of looking at that. And so I've been realizing that my upset about, is this it? Is it like nothing changed? Just that I know that there's no self there, but I don't feel any different. And then it's helpful to hear you, Anna, talk about your experience, because it shows me that there are layers, and this is just the very, very beginning of something, even though I've been in this process for 40 years, it still feels like the very beginning of a seeing, um, and a mystery, and just a normalcy, yet, along with the profound mystery. And so, and I also, I'm saying a lot, but I also notice that I know in our languaging, we have to use the words I and choose and all of that. And so it brings up for me, because that was the most profound thing in the LU process, is that I, saw there was no chooser and no thinker. But I still get kind of caught up in that. Well, like, who's choosing to come on this call then? And who's choosing to do the retreat? And because we're still using that language, and and, and the guide would just say, there's no chooser, look to see who's choosing, and you won't find anyone. But somehow that doesn't, it still feels like, well, we're choosing. We could choose to do it or choose not to do it, or maybe we aren't choosing. Maybe it's just happening. So I get kind of still caught up in that as well. And
If you take that part, I take the other part.
Sure.
The first thing I would like to say is that I love that you can see that just because we see through self, and just because we do not attach an I to anything, we are absolutely normal people. There is nothing that makes us or anybody else remarkable in any way. We're just normal people, down to earth normal people. And in the spiritual community, it's made into that you can achieve something that is better than what you actually have. And that is one of the biggest bubbles that we put a pin to all the time. There's nothing to achieve. It's just that you're not selfing anymore. You're not placing an I in the middle of everything, as if the entire world and everybody around you is revolving around you. The moment you know that that is not happening, there is just stillness, simplicity, and contentment. And that space to be in, where that is the case, is so freeing, because you're setting yourself free and you're setting other people free. Where it sounds like you still have something to look into is that when you say that you still react. I would like for you to really notice, what is it right now that believes that there's something to react to? What is it that feels threatened by what somebody else says, or by what is happening around you? What is it that feels threatened by that? And then look into, is where does that come from? What part in that is it that needs to be met with love and kindness and compassion and space and lots of kisses? And because it's not that we want anything to go away. There's nothing that can go away. It's just to see through what identification that you are in right now that feels so important that you have to defend it by reacting. That's what I want to say. I know you.
Thank you.
I don't know if that was helpful at all.
I had a few things.
Yeah.
So
but
when you
yeah, good to know. Yeah.
when you said somebody else has the mic open. When you said about okay, well, let me go back to the beginning. So first of all, yes, in a way, seeing through self, going through LU is kind of the beginning of a really interesting path to getting to what Pernille was saying with the stillness, simplicity, and contentment. Because if you aren't feeling that in every moment, then that's your cue to just notice that there is some sort of thought or selfing or something that's happening in that moment that's taking you out of it. But that's what I really wanted to emphasize, was that when you said, like, is this it? It's it for this particular moment. Like, this is how you are feeling right now. But notice the urge to create a narrative and to create a timeline where this is a beginning, which then is going to unfold in some sort of relatively predictable way to get to some identifiable conclusion at the end, when you have then gotten what you're really looking for.
Mm.
But that is giving you the idea that there is a you here who is unfolding on this path for a given number of years, and then it's going to reach a culmination at some point. But what's really happening is this moment is the only moment that you can ever experience, right? And so in that moment, is there stillness, simplicity, peace, contentment? Or is there something that feels like it needs to be different? Like you need to be reacting to something, or like this just doesn't feel satisfactory. Like, why did that emotion come up with you, with the feeling that this could be it? What right now is not satisfactory enough for this to be it? And that can be both a rhetorical and an actual question, if you'd like to answer it.
Well, as you're both speaking, I'm seeing it, at least for that question. It's like 50 years of expectations,
Yeah.
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 Of, like even having been a teacher of this, for many years, and not this, but enlightenment, but, so there, and then other people's experiences, which of course I know I'm not supposed to compare, but, it seems that when people have an awakening, and then they start teaching, you know, that it's because it's something amazing to share with the world, and that's where there's gurus, and, I've kind of moved away from the guru world, but that's where I lived for a long time. And so, yeah, there's a lot of layers of expectations, and that's what I really need to be with.
And notice just how it's impacting, because I don't know if your case, but for most of us, we got into this whole field because of suffering and wanting to end the suffering that we had in one way or another. And I think, like, the reason well, I think definitely the reason that I am here, doing this sort of thing, is because I've seen how much it has completely transformed my suffering in the world. That, I've mentioned this a lot, but earlier in life, I was deeply, filled with anxiety. I was agoraphobic, had panic attacks, had social anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. I mean, you name it, and there was an anxiety there. I was, really depressed, and had just so many things going on. And over the course of, the practice, it wasn't just this direct, inquiry awakening part of it, but all the meditation and the Buddhism and things that came before it. Really, I mean, it's just remarkable, the change. And so I originally wanted to just start teaching meditation and Buddhism and stuff, because it was like, if that was enough to help, stop all of the anxiety and the depression and all of the suffering that I was going through, of course I want to share that with everybody else, because, it's great. And then getting more and more into the non-duality and, you know, having my own experiences deepen and insights and all of that, then getting into the Fetter work, then it became, well, of course, I mean, the experience is so much different than it used to be, not because I'm seeing rainbows everywhere and floating on clouds and all of that, but the self-created suffering isn't happening like it used to. And that's really as far as I'm concerned, the goal for all of it. I mean, whether we come in with ideas of, you know, being, you know, one with everything and having some, you know, spiritual context to it where, you know, you want to stop the cycle of reincarnation, or you want to, you know, realize God consciousness or whatever it is, that's something else which is still involved with thought and identity and belief and all
Yeah.
of that. And what we're talking about is this very practical way of having these insights in your moment to moment experience
Yeah.
that really free you from the identification and the expectations and the judgments and all of that that causes our suffering moment to moment, right here, right now. And so that's why we're always pointing to that in the moment, right now. What is it that's actually not satisfactory, okay, comfortable, good enough right here? And then try to find it, address it, work with the things that, if there are, you know, emotional ties and things in the body that need to be addressed, then we work with them. And that's why we employ all of these different techniques, because there is something to be done there. If it feels like there's something to be addressed, we address it. But it's not coming from the standpoint that there is somebody there who's getting something out of it necessarily in that kind of way. It's not about, this is a path where it's definitely going to take you another 30 or 40 years to reach some culmination where finally everything is blissful all the time. It's not about that. It's having these tools to, like we talked with Maureen about, in the moment that you are recognizing thoughts are creating some extra level of reality that isn't really there.
Mm.
I recognizing that in itself, when you get used to doing it, just opens up to this spacious, non-identified, flowing things just being the way that they are.
Mhm.
And the same goes with what we were saying about choosing. Um, it can still feel like you are making a choice. Like, oh, I don't know, do I sleep in this morning or do I get up and start doing it? And in that moment, you can use that as an opportunity to feel, well, what does it feel like? Like, what am I feeling right now that feels like I can make this choice? Does it feel like I am, you know, either engaging the body, and how am I engaging the muscles to get up out of bed, or not? Are there thoughts that are showing up saying, I should get up and start, I don't know,
No,
making
but,
breakfast.
but also
But
I'm so proud of myself. I got up this morning and
yeah,
started to meditate. I
yeah,
mean, that's a lot of identification in itself. Or
it is.
I'm so bad. I was just sleeping and then lying in bed and farting and doing nothing. You know, that's a lot of identification as well.
It is.
There's no value that can be put into anything that you choose. So if you think that the choice is important, then look into that identification, that think that one thing is better than another. I cannot say that you choosing to do the retreat or not do the retreat is better or worse. Not at all. Neither is. It's whatever you emphasize to it and gives it value to, that has an important message to you about where your identification lies.
But who is the you?
There's
I
no
mean,
you.
It-
It's a lack of words.
we have to use the
The language,
language.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but like I was saying with the choosing, like when you are at the moment where you feel like you can make a choice, recognize if you're having thoughts that are showing you the alternative, like I either lie in bed or I get up and meditate. Are you noticing thoughts that are showing getting up and meditating or lying in bed? Are there then emotional reactions or some sort of clenching in the body to one or the other that is saying, like my body feels so tired, it feels like it wants to lie in bed, but there's this feeling of guilt that comes up if I don't get up and meditate? Is there something there that's driving the behavior that's not just, I'm making a choice? Be aware of all the thoughts that are coming up that are trying to kind of weigh the scales one way or another. And then any sort of feeling in the body that's reflecting which one is more likely, or that I'm doing it because of a purpose, because I feel guilty if I don't do it, because I know I'm supposed to be doing it, because I made a commitment, whatever it is. Notice all of those things that are in there that are actually driving the choice point when it happens. It's not that there is a you who is there who is going, okay, now I have made the decision and I'm going to get up and I'm like actively, activating all of my muscles to move. There's a choice that's happening there, and it's being fed by a lot of stuff that's subconscious, but there are some things that you're going to notice that seem to be kind of popping up into consciousness that is influencing the decision of why it's made one way or another.
And it's I mean,
Yeah.
and it's touching on a point that I just want to circle back to, where you talked about that is this it? One of the things that we really emphasize is that this is not something special. And I do know that when you look on YouTube and you look on awakening and you look on, spiritual experiences and all that, the ones that people want to hear are the one with rainbows and unicorns and glitter and just, floating on skies and all of that. Those are the interesting ones. There's nobody who's interested in hearing that this is not something special. This is the same as yesterday, except there's nobody that is feeling guilty anymore. That is awakening, but it's not the point that sells.
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many stories on YouTube about it being magical and light being different and all of that. It is like that for some people, but not for the rest of their lives. It's a peak experience that some people have. And then they're trying to grasp onto that to continue for the rest of their lives. And that is just selfing.
If they have to continue telling the story of that peak experience over and over again, there's identification with that.
With the
There's
peak
something with the peak
experience.
experience. Yeah, it's not about now this is what my life is day to day. It's selling people on the idea that there was this peak moment where everything became very psychedelic and special.
And if we have an idea that we're woken and we know that we should get up because a little bird flies in and lifting the duvet and the deer is making our breakfast and all of that, if we think that is awakening, we're going to be very, very disappointed. The ninth fetter that we're pointing to is about flow. It is that you're not making a decision about getting up. You're getting up without anyone making that decision. The body is getting up. The body is going to the bathroom. The body is having a glass of water. The body is sitting down and meditating. There's nobody that can take, credit for those actions because there's nobody there. And that's why the ninth fetter is easy to live with, because you're just simply flowing through life without any interruptions or anything. It's not deers or rainbows that is doing it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. But I think it's really important because a lot of people experience this. A lot of people have the same issue where we're constantly, it's like we need to validate our own experience by having it reflected in what we hear other people say.
Yeah.
And if you have I think if there's any sort of marginal value in having those kind of peak experiences, is that for those of us who don't trust our experience, that's something that is so big and different than our normal life that it's like, okay, yeah, I can't deny that something just changed. Like if it's subtle, we can go, I don't know, maybe that's it, maybe it's not, blah, blah, blah. But if you have something where all of a sudden you're, talking to squirrels and, everything looks very, very weird, then it's like, okay, something clearly happened. But then you're making something out of that moment. It's still just a momentary experience, which goes after minutes, hours, days, whatever. And then it's still holding on to that. It's latching on to that as being, see, that's proof that something happened. But I could be selfing like a maniac right now. But I had a great experience, 10 months ago where I was like talking to squirrels, and that was great. So I'm clearly awake. But that can actually be used as a way of not doing the kind of further deepening and being here with what's here. And it can be a way of bypassing
Mm.
all of the suffering that we're going through because we have some sort of idea that that meant it, I'm awake now.
And that is making something out of nothing.
Absolutely.
That psychedelic experience that some people have, it's just a glimpse. And then life goes back to normal. But what are you making out of that? Are you making it into that being the real thing and you're chasing that because that is where selfing fell and that is when I became awake? But then what about now when you're running after the bus? If it's not transferable, then it was just a peak experience and there's more to look at.
Yeah.
All right.
Does that
Thank
help
you.
at all? I know that was a lot, but does that help?
Well, my takeaways are not to make something out of nothing. You know, just even since I've been home, it's been like this 4 or 5 days of just recovery, and I've been kind of in a mood of like kind of feeling down emotionally, and you were talking about that before, to just kind of look at that and what's in that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it, you know, I've been sitting with it, but you know, it hasn't been shifting.
That's okay.
And
We don't need it
It's
to.
okay. It doesn't need to shift.
yeah,
Mood is okay to be here. It's just recognizing that it's there, and get the sense of that you're not at the mercy of this thing that needs to be different. It's why is it not acceptable the way it is to be in this mood? And is the mood actually what you think it is? Get curious about even that. Something as familiar as I've been feeling down. What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
What is that really like in your actual
And
experience?
sorry, I'm interrupting again.
That's okay.
And also noticing that when you're in a mood, where is that mood placed? Is it placed in the body and the mind is actually fine? I have experienced having a feeling of depression in my body. My mind is fine, but my body is reacting as if I'm depressed. And that's it. The only thing it's telling me is that right now I need to be gentle because the body is releasing something that I have no idea what it's about. But something is surfacing in the body right now. I'm not mixing a mind into it. I'm just allowing the body to do what the body needs to do and getting out of the way so the body can do what it needs to do. So when you're in a mood, can you allow that to be in the body? Can you be in a body that's in a mood? Can you detach the mind about that being right or wrong or needs to be any different and just allow what is to be?
and then I asked myself, can I be in the body that
Yeah.
feels this way? I
Yeah.
actually got a no. So then I go to the, well, can I accept that I can't be in a body that feels this way? And yeah, then there's space for it. Okay,
Yeah.
I can accept that
Yeah.
this doesn't feel good. I don't want to feel this right now. But
That's okay.
it gives it space.
Yeah,
And
because it's okay. It's okay not wanting this, but you don't need to fight. You don't need to have resistance to the resistance. It's
right.
okay not wanting it. It's fine. It's like a toddler that doesn't want to go home from the playground. It's okay. You can be angry about that we have to go home because it's getting dark. You can be angry as much as you want. We are going home.
It does feel like a child.
Yeah, exactly. It's why I talk about that we are, a toddler many times when we fight against what is.
Yeah. So I mean,
And it's
my
okay.
takeaway is the expectations and the making it something out of nothing, and to just be in a direct experience,
Yeah,
and it's all
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's huge.
It's absolutely okay. Yeah.
So I mean, knowing all of this, but I still got, you get caught in it and then you can't see it. And so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. That's
And if you
real.
get caught, you can go to Discord and write if you need support or help. There's so many wonderful people in there that can help you to be reminded of that it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you
you're
so
so
much.
welcome.
Good seeing you.
Thank you. And Lynette.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine. Actually, I don't have any idea what I'm going to say, but
Oh, I love that.
I've been participating in this group for a while, but I never said anything because I think there's also some taking space issue. But yeah, I'm a bit more familiar to Vince's group.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think what I want to do is to tell Pernille how grateful I am for the videos because yeah, when I began with the program in Liberation Unleashed, I remember that my guide told me, yeah, okay, what are your expectations? And he made it very clear that, and he said that there would maybe be like a subtle change. But I have to say that, yeah, in the beginning it seemed quite subtle to me, but now if I look back, I would say it was quite profound because yeah, when I was a teenager, I started to have regular depressions, and also I started to do alcohol and drugs quite early, and I also had a lot of traumatic situations with other people. But yeah, when I was a teenager, it really felt like coming home into the depression. It felt like, yeah, but if you're honest, everything is horrible. And it really felt like this. I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still not quite a long time ago, I still had this kind of mechanisms, I don't know, like negative thought patterns. And I could recognize them, but it was very hard not to be identified.
Yeah.
And by now, I don't know. It's like I went to Indonesia and I had this kind of super psychedelic experience on a beach like that. And I all my life I really suffered from overthinking and wanting to be in control and catastrophizing situations, believing that they were already real, although I could not possibly know that if that would happen anyway.
Yeah.
And then after like 3 hours of just watching the sea and the sky and the clouds, I had a very strange moment because it was like suddenly there was this feeling like, okay, and there was this strange character called Leonard, and it felt like so obvious that it was just a story.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then I afterwards like I looked on my mobile phone and I saw like, oh, that was like 3 hours of not thinking anything at all.
Amazing.
And afterwards, when like conceptual thinking came in, it was just like, wow, I'm in the end of the world. I don't feel alone. I don't have any I'm not worrying about anything. I don't feel disconnected. Yeah, I don't know. And okay, that's already when you reach the end that you start to evaluate it. But anyway, this evaluation was like quite positive. And yeah, what happened was like the next day, I felt completely shitty. I felt like super bored, empty, lonely, and I didn't feel like doing anything. I just stood on the hotel room and I felt like, okay, no, I have to watch some shitty series or something like that. And before, I would have really blamed myself for this because I think when I was in the spiritual surge, I would really like force myself to do meditation. And then there were like activities that were like a no-go because
Yes.
it doesn't really fit with the self-image of this super spiritual awakened person. And then yeah, I was just gentle to myself, and I felt like, no, there is no difference actually. I mean, you can look at the sky and the sea and admire nature, but you can also watch a stupid series on
Yes.
YouTube. And that was kind of, it didn't really feel so much like flipping to different sides, but it was all like kind of one. But then, of course, also it still happens to me that I can get lost in some thought patterns, but then usually I notice. But sometimes I feel like, yeah, it's I can't control it anyway, but I still can manage to not identify totally with it. But I mean, I'm living in a new city now, and I noticed, for example, that the more often I come home to this city after some trips to other places, the more I feel at home. So I understood like that this is actually an analogy that sometimes like to lose myself in thought or in diversion, it's also strengthening the feeling of coming home again to this calmness. And why the reason why I said that the change for me is quite profound is that now I really notice that this is my home, and I really have this kind of intuition that that's the place I always come back to, and that's I like it's not the depression, it's not the negative thoughts anymore, and that's really quite a change for me, because in all my life I was really like I was trying everything, you know. I mean, that's the problem probably, but I did therapies. I would not say that they didn't help me, but yeah, but I think I was also so stressed about, yeah, but I have to be happy, and
Yeah.
I had like this expectations about how things should be different in order to be happy. And then now I think watching your videos, it got like really more clear to me, not in an intellectual way, but intuitively, that also the rather uncomfortable things are quite interesting. I quite enjoy them actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, on my trip, I trusted too much in Google Maps, and then I got lost. Got lost in the jungle, and I was kind of, oh my God, are there maybe some snakes or something like that? And also my shoes were totally wet because I was standing in a swamp or something like that. And I didn't find any new shoes in Indonesia because my size as a European is too big. So I had to walk around in wet shoes for 5 days. And then I remembered like, okay, but this is an adventure, and adventures are not always comfortable. So I really kind of enjoyed it as well, although it was like,
I love that so much, Lena. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I love it so much. It's one of the really, really big things that when expectations fall, with that, and when that identification that we have with expectation, when that falls, life just becomes free. You did not in any way, you were not able to, when you planned your trip, to plan for 5 days of wet feet. It was not even in the planning. You had no thoughts about that you would get wet feet for 5 days and not be able to have dry feet for 5 days, you know. And that's the thing about planning and about expectations, that it's so amazing when we really become aware of that we cannot plan for anything. We can have ideas, you know. It's like wishful thinking. It's like, oh, I get up now so I won't be late for work. That's wishful thinking. You do not know, you know.
yeah,
Even when you check Google Maps, and even when you know, cannot be absolutely certain that things will happen the way that you want them to happen. And really letting go of that, it's so freeing.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, it was like paradise, this beach where I had this psychedelic
Yeah.
experience, but it was full of garbage. And there were a lot of people, and it was not the super nice, calm place. There was actually a lot of noise and
Yeah.
garbage. And then I thought, ah, okay, I had expected to
Yes.
get this. Yeah, but anyway, then I thought like, yeah, okay, but the sea is the sea and garbage is garbage.
Yes. Yes.
And
I love that so much.
another thing that I think, yeah, I also had a bit of a problem to let fall certain labels because I always, yeah, I kind of mistrusted in myself because of these addictions. And in the beginning, maybe you have to have this kind of labels like, okay, this is an addiction.
Mm.
Yeah, or maybe not. I don't know, because actually, I think I quit everything because anyway, I had reached a point where I was tired of having a hangover all the time and feeling socially awkward and things like that. It was just like I didn't have any energy anymore to continue this circle. So after, like retrospectively, I would not even say that it was a decision or that I did anything. It was just like the ripe moment or something. But then also recently, yeah, for quite a long time, I was super isolated. And I also had this idea that in order to have this spiritual awakening, I should spend a lot of time always alone and never with other people, not talk about bullshit on a dinner party and stuff like that. And in some way, it was also true, but now somehow I don't see a separation between both things anymore. And also, what I was a bit confused about was that, yeah, at the moment I'm getting to know someone and I don't label it as falling in love or something like that, but I can feel that it's really like just enjoying to talk for 8 hours and watching the sunset together, holding hands and reading things to each other and stuff like this. And but I'm not conceptualizing this so much. I mean, it could happen sometimes that I think, who is this person I'm spending so much time with, and I forget about everything, and what does this mean, or how will this turn out in the future? But then I'm quite good in coming back to to enjoying
The moment.
the presence of the other person. And then the weird thing is, and that is not only happening with this person, but also with my colleagues, my students, my neighbors, that somehow it feels like, how could I put it in words? Like, it's not even you and me, it's just like happening.
It's exactly what I mean with setting people free and setting yourself free and setting the situation free to be as it is. There's a lightness about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I know it's not correct to say we are happening or something, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
We went through that phase when we were starting to be in a not relationship where it was like, well, we're not defining it. It doesn't have to well, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, but it's like, maybe it's not a relationship, and it was just that for like months where it was just felt like months anyway, where it was like, this indefinable thing that didn't need to be defined because it was just perfect as it was.
Yeah, but I'm not only talking about this amorous
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
but
I
it was
know.
just
But it's a lightness. It's
Yeah.
a lightness in any interaction that you have with any, if it's a cashier in a store, or it's a neighbor, or a dog, or a loved one, that there's a lightness about it, because they don't need to be in a certain way for you to be happy, and you don't need to be in a certain way for you to be happy.
Yeah, and
In anything, it's just a freedom for them to be, for you to be, and it's just light.
yeah, it's maybe, yeah, some years ago, for example, when I went to a cafe, I would not be able to sit there without having a glass of wine or a cigarette because I thought everybody's watching me or something. But now it feels like so ridiculous. Like,
Yes.
why would anybody care, you know? And but this is like
Yeah.
when I interact with people now, it's like also it just happens. I just happen to say something, maybe sometimes also stupid, but it's just what's happening. It's not like, oh
Yeah.
my God, what are they thinking about me now or something?
Exactly. It's a freedom.
Mhm.
There's a
It's
freedom.
strange
Yeah. It's
also
wonderful.
that it's happening in a very smooth way. For example,
Yes.
some days ago, I noticed that I had forgotten something, yeah, important. A good friend of mine who's not living in the same city, but she had told me that she had like, yeah, quite a severe operation, like, because to prevent cancer, she had like to be taken the uterus out of her body, and of course, this is like quite hard psychologically as well, but also physically. And she had told me more or less when this operation would happen, and I just forgot it. And then it was like 10 days later, and I was just a bit shocked, like, oh wow, why did I forget this? But then I just called her and I told her I was super shocked now because I really forgot about this. I don't know why this happened, but I just wanted to let you know that yeah, but it was not a problem. I mean, she understood, and
Exactly.
and then yeah, but I mean, usually I would have thought like, oh no, I'm a bad friend, or why could that happen, or am I too selfish, or just in my universe and not thinking about my friends anymore? And like somehow this whole story of having a bad consciousness fell away, and then I thought, no, I will just directly communicate with her and tell her what happened. And then I think because it was just authentic and not like explaining things or inventing things or you know, because probably because of that she was not angry or disappointed.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
Love it so much.
Yeah.
Love it so much. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
That
It's
this
really good to
this
hear
has
from
been amazing. Yeah.
Thanks again for this space to
Yeah.
share.
Yeah. Love it so much.
I also really love your shirt.
Yeah,
That's an
it's
ama- that's an
amazing, isn't
amazing
it?
shirt.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say I saw Suryamani had a hand up and you took it down. Was that on purpose? I would love to hear from you.
Yes. She's nodding yes. It was on purpose.
Okay, so you don't want to say anything? I would love to hear from you.
No pressure though.
No pressure.
No pressure.
I'm absolutely putting the entire
I
spotlight.
would love to hear from you.
Say something.
Oh God, I chickened out.
You chicken out. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still want to chicken out?
Well, I did come on the call to speak, and
Okay,
so
here we
it
go.
would be quite good probably to follow that urge.
Okay. So now you're sitting and chicken out with a spotlight on you.
Well, I mean, it's brilliant what everyone's been saying. It really resonates a lot. Yeah, I've actually just been on a couple of 10 Fetter retreats.
Amazing.
And yeah, sort of like disappointment that nothing's happened. um and yet, well, how do I know? I mean, there's also that thing of like, there's just a story about whether something has or hasn't happened as well, and feel like it's probably quite a good idea to stay open to see how things unfold in a way. But yeah, I got back and had loads of aversion to my partner. And I thought, this keeps coming up, this same thing. And when I've tried to look into 4 and 5, I just can't get it. I just can't find my way into it. And yet there's definitely been a bit of a loosening around certain types of reactivity. And definitely have, but anyway, this comes up again. She doesn't care about her appearance, and somehow that makes me feel ashamed. And so it's like it's personal. Yeah. And so then I sort of think, well, is the sort of thing to do to just stay with that feeling that comes up in me of aversion and shame, and those are all labels, of course, to just try and get closer to the sensations that are there, and check out childhood trauma about shame and stuff. Yeah, I'm a little bit lost about kind of how to be with that.
Yeah, I completely hear what you're saying, and I would love for us to make an inquiry into it. But I just want to make a little bracket saying that when we love someone, we want the best for them in life, and we want them to be happy, to be healthy, and we wish the best for them. And it's really painful to watch someone that we love not appreciating themselves. It's really painful to watch someone that we love playing themselves down or making themselves small, or being, a punching bag in a family, having, a certain role in a family that is making them into the black sheep of the family. And every time there's family gatherings, it's like, everybody's punching at the one that you really love. Watching a loved one suffering in a way that they're not even aware that there is something better or more for them, that is painful. And I just want to, the reason why I'm mentioning it, that I don't want you to bypass from the pain. I understand what you mean, and we're going to do a 5 Fetter inquiry on it and all of that, but I just want you to hold space for that part of you that feel love for your partner and wanting her to see herself with loving and compassionate and caring eyes, so she take care of herself, so she goes to the dentist and to the doctor and take care of her body. And because you love her, you want her to stay here for as long as possible, and you want her to see her with the same love that you see her with. I hear that, and I completely want you to create space for that part of you in you, that is something that we feel when we love someone. We want, for example, when Todd, he can sometimes have phrases that when he talk about himself that really hurt me, that he talks about himself like that. And then I normally tell him, I don't like when you talk to yourself like that. And he goes, well, I didn't mean anything about it. And I'm like, no, but if you said that to me, I would be so hurt about it. And then he can hear, oh my goodness, if I talk to her like I'm talking to myself, that would be cruel. But we can't hear it because we are in such habit with treating ourselves in a certain way due to trauma. And from the outside, that can be very, very painful to observe, very, very painful to experience. And I just want you to be aware of that and do not bypass that in any way by saying that it's just thoughts, there's no one here and all that. Hold space for that compassion and love that you feel towards her.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
And now we can do a 5 Fetter.
Well, does she have, when you say that she doesn't care about her appearance, is it something where, I mean, is it something where you feel like she is she okay with it really? Or is it something where it's coming from a place of, you know, lack of self-care and self-worth? Or is it just something that's just, you know, like when you say she doesn't take care of her appearance, do you have certain standards that you're expecting that she's not living up to with them? Or is it something where it's, you know, I think just having more information about it would help.
Yeah, no, I mean, there have been times when she's had more pride of appearance. It's I mean, like just wearing really ripped shirts and things like that to like a family gathering. There's, I think, I mean, I try and check. Am I just, obviously I'm seeing it through my own lens, but I think on the whole, most people will probably notice, oh, gosh, she's wearing quite a lot of ripped clothes and yeah. So I think there is a sort of a certain neglect there.
But I think
It's covered up with a sort of I'm fine with this, but I'm not convinced.
No, exactly, because it's also, is it a statement?
Yeah.
You know, is it a fashion statement or is it neglect? It's two different.
Well, yeah, I think it's maybe a bit of both, but
and where it's really relevant from the fifth Fetter standpoint is, you know, I noticed that the instances that you mentioned right there are instances where other people are seeing her. And so is this being felt that it's some sort of a reflection of you, that your partner is not presenting the way you would like her to present, and that you might be being judged by these other people for the that you're keeping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something
that's
that you can work
definitely a
with.
5 Fetter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does that feel like for you when you're in a position where you feel like perhaps there's a certain amount of judgment coming your way in your perception because of how she is choosing to dress?
Oh, it's very uncomfortable. I can't quite feel it at the moment, but yeah, it's very, very uncomfortable.
So I'm thinking, if you just went to the 10 Fetter retreat, then you have done the normal 5 Fetter sitting in the gap about it, right?
Yeah, there wasn't that much practical application actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I really wanted.
Because what I would like for you to do is use the bubble of reality. Whatever you think that other people are judging you for by keeping her as company, having her as your partner, you have a sentence that you think they say about you. That needs to be written down. That needs to be written down, because that is you. That is you judging you.
Yeah.
And that is relevant because you're putting something on her that she needs to do so you don't feel like that.
Yeah. Well, it's just something like, you know, they're saying, what's she doing with someone like that? Or, you know, that kind of thing.
Are
Yeah.
you thinking that?
Has she got any self-respect at all?
Write that down.
Yeah.
Write that down.
And look into whether these are perhaps things that you are thinking about your situation that for whatever reason you're not comfortable fully owning. If these thoughts are coming to mind when you see her.
And also if you have thoughts about, well, I shouldn't think like that, you know, she should be able to dress the whichever way. I shouldn't judge her by, you know, wanting her not to dress like that. So you're a bit of a snob. Then look into that. You know, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever surfaces with everything that you look into, please have compassion towards yourself. If you find out that you're a snob, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. There's a room in you that is snobbish. Enter the room. Can you be in a body that's snobbish? It's okay. You cannot discover anything in you that I would not sit next to you and going like, that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's about noticing what it is. So when she dresses up in ripped clothes and everything, and you're going out grocery shopping or going to a family gathering or anything like that, everything that arises, allow it to arise and write it down, write it down, write it down. And for everything you can say, and that's okay, and that's okay, and that's okay. And when you come to a point, like we talked about before, where you feel, no, this is not okay. This is not okay. Then, okay, can you be in a body where it's not okay? Can you stay with the resistance? Is it okay for you to have this resistance? Because it's really, truly about you embracing everything that you experience.
Right. Yeah.
And if you feel like you need that if the idea of being judged by other people is so painful, then that's a clue to something that needs your attention and your healing work to be able to be okay with other people having a different opinion than you or thinking whatever they think about you. You know, like Pernille always says, you have to set people free to be themselves or to think what they think or all of that. So the question is to look into how much of this is actually your perception about you and about your situation that you're currently in. And it's really about absolute honesty to really see what you're feeling and really see the thoughts that are there without, as Pernille said, putting on the, well, that's, I'm a terrible person if I think that, so I'm not going to say that. No, be honest with the experience. If a thought comes up, like she said, write it down, be aware of it, and then, you know, go from there. But really notice if there's that pull to have to make yourself have to have the world be in a certain way for you to not feel that you are being judged or uncomfortable in some way, you know.
And so
yeah,
go on.
Go ahead.
No, but also having that it's also okay to say to her, oh, could you please take that on instead of that? I feel I would feel so much better if you would wear that instead of wearing that. And it's okay for you to say that. It's also okay for her to say, no way, I'm going with the ripped. And then you're fine, okay with that. Just like it's okay for her to say, okay, I didn't know that. Thank you. Yes, I will take it on. And that's also okay. Anything is okay. There's nothing that is not okay. And that's why it's so easy to just be with it, setting yourself free to whatever is here right now, setting her free to what is here. And if you feel that you really want to, oh, could you please take that shirt on instead? It's okay to ask that. It's also okay for her to say no. So the mantra is, it's okay. It's the theme of the day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let us know how it...
Thank you so much for raising your hand and willingly to talk about this.
Thanks for picking up on me having lowered it, giving me a space.
Yeah, of course.
Anytime.
Anytime. It's a pleasure. I'm happy you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then we had another one hand up
Yeah,
and remove the hand.
it
Who was that?
Rebecca, I think.
Let's just see if where.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to run to the bathroom for a quick
Okay.
second. I'll be right back.
Who was it that had
I
their
thought it
hand
was-
up?
Yeah, I thought it was Rebecca, but I don't see
Oh,
her
she might
anymore. I
have-
think she left.
Okay, that is Anna. Old man. Let me see. Pin. And a pin here as well. A pin. Hello.
We're here. It's just something came up just when I was listening to previous lady talking about her partner.
Yeah.
You know, when there is that judging thought about what is she doing with her, there was just like real, just a guard dog appeared here, like, just protecting something here. So, and I can't get in touch. What is it protected? Like, you know, I know something really, you know, it's really resonated with that being judged by other, you know, like you have no value, something like that. And that was just like instantly that protector part. It literally just, you know, like you see them guard dog, just like, ha! That just jumped out. I don't know how to think. It's just like, yeah, like cries and even coming up now. It's like, you know, like when you see them homeless kids and homeless people, something like that.
Mm.
And they've been judged and, you know, like kicked by everyone and just like pushed away by everyone. Something like that. And it's here. And there is a cry underneath. It's just like it's such a vulnerable part. I really just
This that you're I don't know if I'm quite sure this is not what you're talking about, but I just get this thought that I really just want to emphasize that when we see homeless people and when we see like children that are not taken care of, or when we see, you know, dogs that are, you know, all miserable and everything, seeing that means that we are open to seeing that in ourselves, bubble of reality. So there are a lot of people out there that are passing homeless people every single day and they have not seen a single one. At the end of the day, they have not seen a single homeless person at all because they're not open to see that part of themselves. So what you're talking about, where and also where you are in your process right now, where there's a lot of ego death standing and happening, a lot of survival mechanisms that are really being rocked at the moment. Exactly. Breathe into that. It's okay. Body's reacting to what I'm saying. It's fine. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Exactly. Allow that to be.
Mm.
That's an animal part is coming out now. It's just like really just want to scratch and just like destroys them, just like kills them.
You have a reaction in your upper left lip that is going like up like that. That is connected with part of the neck vertebra. In a moment, yeah. Could you shake? Arms shaking, arms shaking, arms shaking. Your whole spine if you can. Thank you. Beautiful.
It's normal.
There's more. We wait. There's more. We wait.
I went 2.5 hours like this. It's normal.
Yeah. I know. It's because of all of the one-to-one conversations you have had with Todd. I so good because you're so open in initiating all this, and it's wonderful. What is happening, right? The spinal nerves that is activating is the one from the neck. That's between the head, the intellectual part, and the body. You're sitting and embodying stuff right now. It's completely fine. We can wait.
For sure.
It's that the nerve that you had. I usually call it the chicken butt because we get like it feels like that we have a contraction like that, and to avoid that we do like that, which is basically showing teeth. Yeah.
It really is like that. I just want to scratch and just show teeth and just like like that animal part. Yeah. And just like attack and just destroys them.
When the body has experienced all that and all that is out, you're gonna have a sensation of a chicken butt.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? In your face.
In
your face. Chicken butt in your face.
What could you repeat that again? What is a chicken thing?
The chicken butt is when the spinal nerves in the neck are done doing what they're doing right now in you, and you're done showing your teeth up like that. The next thing that will happen is that all of it relaxes, and when all of the muscles around the mouth and the neck relaxes, you go like that. So you get like a chicken butt on your mouth.
Ah, okay. After this settles.
After all of that is settled and the nerve is relaxing, you get like a contraction around the lips that makes you a chicken butt on your mouth. I'm really selling it, isn't I?
Yeah. From the
And as I
starving, raging animal to a chicken butt.
Yeah.
I really touched something again. It's just like
Yeah. But it's about, to circle back to what we talked about, it's about you see the homeless person. That is because you're ready to see that in you. So whatever thought you have about the homeless person, about them being pathetic, them being, need to pull themselves together, or it's lots and lots of sadness and everything, it's a mirror. Whatever you see out there is a reflection of in here, and you only see that because you're ready to see more about yourself, more perceptions and more, what do you call it? What do you call that? Assumptions about yourself. Could I ask you to shake your arms, because I would like for you to locate the vertebra around here. So shake your shoulders and arms like that. Yes. Thank you.
It's easy. It's instantly.
Huh?
It's easy. It's instantly.
Yeah.
There's a strong like tension in the body. It's easy. It's very, very like instantly. You can feel that relaxation.
Yes.
That's a very good thing.
It is. It is. You're welcome.
You see about homeless people, and like people who are normally judged and put in jails, like they killing and doing different kind of badness, what normally judged by society as badness, or anyone is pushed away because like they just not fit in society. Normally what comes up here, it's just like I just want to hug them and just warms them, just loves them, just loves them, just loves them, just loves them, warms them. That's what normally comes up here. And like I normally you know, when I watch some like criminal shows or some documentaries, I just like, what happened to that person in the childhood that made them what they are now? Because that's where this is coming from. And so yeah, this what is coming up, but this is obviously this part within myself what needs this.
Yes, it's not about them.
No.
Don't divert your attention and thinking that you should hug all of them. They should hug themselves. You should recognize what it is you project onto them from you that needs to be hugged and held. It's not about them at all. You're projecting all your shit onto them and saying that needs to be held. I wonder what happened to them. They should just be hugged. Are you so sure about that?
That's all here.
Yeah. You're not setting them free to be who they are. You're projecting onto them and believing that they can be saved if you just give them enough love. That's a projection. You need to allow them to be the way they are in the world and save you.
Or maybe they are happy the way they are. Nobody knows.
Who knows? Who knows? But and that's the point about setting people free, that you allow them to make to live their life the way they live, and whatever you're projecting onto them, you heal in you. So can you be in a body that is like that? Can you be in a body that has an experience? Yeah,
Certainly.
Yeah.
Because it just, see, when that comes up, it just like it's like, you know, like a water source overflowing. Yeah, it's just like so much. You just it's no lacks there. It's just like overflowing.
Yeah.
It's like you can hug an entire world enough and there will be a bit less. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
In these moments when things like that open.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Still fighting coming up.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for attending this show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Is there anything else?
I think that was it.
Well, this has been lovely.
Yeah, it's been lovely. For the one that came in later, we are having a summer break with the Q&A. So next time we meet is in 2 weeks on Tuesday for the same inquiry. And if you have any questions, right, Todd?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
So good
Thank you
seeing
so much.
Have
a great
week.
day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.